I know my first snafu was considered, I don't know if snafu translates, right? That means a total F up for those, right? I think that one translates a little better. It was one of the first events that we did. We had used social media for a little bit and had started to use Twitter at General Motors, and then everybody started going Twitter crazy. Then everyone wanted to tweet everything live that we ever did, including product backgrounders. So we held a product backgrounder for a product, the GMC Terrain. And I was not fully aware of what was under embargo and what was not, because they needed someone who knew Twitter, and here I was. And so I walk in, and I'm tweeting from the backgrounder, from what I thought was okay information. Turns out it wasn't. Turns out I, a GM employee, a PR person, was breaking embargo. For those of you who are not in our profession, if you break an embargo, then that gives every journalist that's in that room the opportunity to then break embargo, which then causes conflict. So for us, you know, here I am, the PR professional, going on and tweeting because I thought it was okay to say that it was a 5-passenger vehicle that had great fuel mileage, but apparently that was a violation. So Jalopnik, the largest auto blog in the US, published a blog post saying that I had been the first person to break embargo via Twitter. So there's my name, and there's my picture, and there's my series of tweets. So to rectify that, what I quickly did was I called the brand manager. I was very forthcoming to let them know what had occurred. Then we divided up in terms of teams and started calling our broadcast colleagues, started calling the journalists who had been there for the day to let them know what parts of the embargo had been broken, to please respect the rest. But you could say that it was a 5-passenger vehicle that had great fuel economy. In fact, we encourage that. So don't be afraid if you mess up, because you will mess up, but know how to react to it. I think that's been part of our training this week too, is to say it's all right to test, and it's all right to, you know, we're all trying here, social media is new, so if you do something wrong, work with it. Just do so and be genuine. I think one thing that worked for us very well, I will say, was when we went through the Chapter 11 process, we made a clear point to be transparent. That was our #1 goal. We will be transparent. If you have a question, if you are wondering whether or not to come to work that day, whether or not your car is under warranty, we will answer you. And we were in a room, I kid you not, for it was about a week and a half. Someone was in that room 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and I will never forget the way that room smelled. Or the way I felt thereafter, but we were committed. And that took a lot, you know. Think about that. 1.5 weeks, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, someone will answer you. Which I think if we had to do it all over again, I would make sure that that was part of the plan. I would just bring some air freshener and some change of clothes.
Gosh, follow that. I think one of the key learnings that I've meant is that social media won't work on its own, and you really need an integrated plan that has social media as part of your communications mix. So I got a good learning, took part in the Global Green Challenge in October of last year, which is the drive down from Darwin to Adelaide. And I thought I had my bases covered. So, you know, I had the channel on Facebook, I had, you know, an existing audience there. I got my material up there, I did my videos, I did my blog, I did my photos on there, but it stood alone. There was not a good PR plan that sat around that channel. You know, we didn't build in a great traditional PR plan around that. So you can do great stuff on Facebook, but you know it's only good. You know, it's only any good. It's only going to reach those people that are already your fans. So it was really, you know, it was a great learning for me that, you know, it's great to do Facebook stuff, but you got to make sure that it fits within a much broader program. So that's a lot of the focus that we're doing now, is making sure that what we're doing is integrating with the rest of our communications efforts and our marketing efforts.
Thank you. Thank you for being candid, ladies. That's excellent.
My pleasure.
And in the PR world, an embargo is pretty serious.
Yeah, we don't mess around with that.
We're just looking at some more crowdsourced questions that have come through. Have either of you used social media within the organisation to break down silos and to build communities internally within the organisation. Has that been successful? Are you seeing some way ahead in that regard?
Yeah, definitely. Mark Royce, who actually just came from Holden to the US, has been doing a fantastic job. He's been on Twitter of his own volition, so it's always great when you have a senior executive who loves to tweet, to go on and talk about what he's learning about the US market. But we use an internal social media tool called Socialcast, which has been helping us in a lot of ways. We used to have a moderated system where if you had a question, you would log onto our intranet rather, onto Socrates, and there was a series where you could ask a question. And then it would take about a week and a half for someone to find your question and run over to HR or to manufacturing, or to the group that you would ask that question about, like, you know, how do I understand what my retirement plan is like? Or the light is off in the cafeteria and I can't get someone to replace it. I mean, any manner of questions, really. And it would literally take us a week to a week and a half to find the answer, then write the answer, then get the answer approved. And this is just for internal employees. So with Socialcast, a lot of these questions have now been asked of the community, and it's fantastic to see instantaneous responses without having to go to the HR manager. The HR manager is answering it on their own. So I don't have to write it, and I don't have to get it approved. It's the HR manager telling someone how to find their retirement resources. So that's been a great help for us, I think, internally. And then also by enabling employees to tell our message, to understand more about the product, to be out there on Twitter and Facebook, it does a lot for employee morale. So we're seeing barriers being broken both in terms of knowledge, but also in terms of morale.
Yeah, so we're just starting to use Socialcast within Holden, and what's pretty cool is that it hasn't been the corporate affairs team or the communications team that have been the first people to participate in that. So we've actually had the first communities set up on Socialcast by employees. So that says to me that we've got employees who are interested in participating in social media, that want to understand the tools that are available to them, and that something like Socialcast would actually be, you know, perhaps better serve the organisation as an information sharing tool as opposed to an internal communications channel.
Another question from the floor or from the Twitter sphere. Hashtag GM, that would be you,
Okay.
Annalisa. And hashtag Holden, that would be you, Andrea. In your time together, what are the fundamental differences you've found in the hashtag Australian SM market to the US? So the differences between Australia and the US just in your time. How long have you been in Australia for?
3 days.
3 days. Plenty of time.
Plenty of
Okay,
time.
what are the differences you've seen in that regard?
I think I'll start off with saying, you know, I've been to about 12 different countries right now, all across the globe, and I thought that social media would be like this totally epically different experience in each country. And yes, there are nuances, but as I was saying before, social media, you know, we're social beings, right, as humans. Some of us may be a little better at it, or may you know, prefer to do it in other ways, but we are social people. So the things and the reasons why we go on social are pretty much the same everywhere. We want to meet new people. We want to, you know, reality TV is popular for a reason because we like to watch other people. So we've noticed most Facebook behaviors are men looking at pictures of women or women looking at pictures of other women. Apparently pictures of women are very popular endeavors on Facebook. So these reasons that we are on social media are because of our human nature. With that said, there are some nuances. So what I've noticed, one about the car market, is that Australians love color. You will put beautiful colors like fantastic greens and blues on large sedans, and I'm telling you, everywhere else in the world, they'll only risk it with a tiny little car. Y'all will put it on, you know, performance sedan. Oh yeah, I just did, y'all. I'm so from the US. All right. So you got me there. You will not see that in a tweet unless it's tonight. So maybe I'll be able to change the social media dynamic here by throwing that one in.